Right? It's
Yes.
gonna be
At this point, the intro is probably the hardest one.
like, what is riffing?
Just like not even looking at
I
your
just this is
music
my
notes.
fear. My fear is that I'm gonna talk too much because I get into talking, and
I
like
got
I
boogers in
don't
my nose.
know, and I don't want to like out talk, like this is his platform, so I'm trying to like
Don't,
be very careful.
don't, don't, because it'll spark conversation.
I think, yeah, I think you're very good at leading if you need to. I don't think you'd be taking over. And if he needs a spark, yeah, I think he's absolutely right. It's going to spark a conversation, which is what's needed, right? Which is what's wanted for the most part.
So let me see. Let me look at that phone.
Like, does my hair look okay?
Yeah.
I was like, I want the one with the shaved side look,
It does. It looks really good. Okay.
You want me to pop it off? I can pop it off.
I'm going to leave that up to you guys.
I can pop it off.
Yeah, we're ready to go. So
Like, let me pop it off.
Yeah, if you want to.
And then you can like start getting into. I'll pop it off.
all right. We're rolling. So whenever you are ready.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Let's
Ahui
talk
ho.
a hooey ho.
Let's
Let's
go.
talk about vow renewals.
Yes.
So, people have noticed you do vow renewals, you do weddings. I've had a lot of clients approach me about vow renewal.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will say, oh, I have to wait until my 10-year or my 20-year or my 15-year.
Yeah.
Do you think people have to actually wait until there's a particular milestone to renew their vows?
Well, see, kind of how I look at vow renewals is, when we're growing up, right? We're in kindergarten, right? We have a graduation from kindergarten, right? Everybody, your parents come, the community even celebrates it, right? You're celebrating yourself. You're excited to go into full elementary school. And again, elementary school graduation, right? You have certificates, people come out and celebrate you, and you're so excited to go into middle school, right? And you're scared too, right? For the next chapter. And again, in middle school, same thing, right? Going into high school, and each of these times you're transforming as a human, you're a human being, you're unfolding. And then it's college, right? You graduate from college, and again, right? Everybody comes out, and you're scared again, going into the career world, right? But these rituals, right? These sacred rituals inspire you to boldly step forward into your new self, right? And then you have your wedding for people who choose to get married, right? It's such a grand event. Everybody comes, right? I believe, right? Even the ancestors, past, present, and future, show up for these things. And again, the whole community fills you up. You're celebrating yourself, your family, your ohana, right? Your friends, the community. Oh, look, she's getting married. Boldly stepping in to your, but also scared, but boldly stepping into your new self, right? And then we stop. Why do we stop these sacred rituals, right? Right? They recharge us and send us off into the next chapter. We never stop growing and unfolding as humans, right? So I look at a vow renewal like, my thought is actually roughly about every 3 years or so, we as humans, we've transformed, right? Who were you 3 years ago, Brandy, in 2020?
A completely different person.
Yeah?
Yes.
Physically, mentally, spiritually.
All of the
tell
things.
Tell me, who were you? Tell me some things. What were you?
I was just very different. The situations and the things that were going on in my life at that moment kind of changed who I was, or or made me who I was at that moment in time. So, perfect example, 2020, I was very broken. You know, my mom was dying from cancer.
Yes.
And I was very unhappy. I was sad often. I wasn't as an attentive mother. I was very different because the situation that I was surrounded with at that time kind of made me who I was. And now today, I I'm very different. I'm not a little happier. I'm happier. I feel a little bit more whole. I feel more of centered and wake up feeling good now. And whereas in 2020, I just woke up feeling there was no hope, and then there was a pandemic. You know, so yeah, I was very different than I am now.
Yeah, right. So for me, I was about 100 pounds heavier 3 years ago, right? In the heat of my federal contracting universe, right? That had came through all of that. And it's when I sold off the company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 3 years before that, I was nailing 3 years before, so we're talking every 3 years. 3 years before that, I nailed one of my largest federal contracts. I had been working so hard to get up to. What I'm saying is, in each of those phases, who I am now, right? My Kumu Aloha work has exploded since then, right? I always had the intention, but I had not. I never imagined, right? When I read my journals from back, how my thoughts were back then to now, right? My physical self was different, right? My mental self was different. My spiritual self was different. And I could go back 3 years in the journals and read what I was talking about. I was like, wow, who the hell is this guy, right? From who I am today, how I was treating my kids. So, but when we get caught in the grind of the day to day, we don't notice that because we're with ourselves every day.
Mm-hmm.
But you're changing. I'm changing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even
so,
from our last renewal in 2021.
yeah, right? So, as we change, right? Where's all of the celebration for the new person that I was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another question is could you be the person you are today, right? If you had not have been that person you were 3 years ago or 3 years before that?
Absolutely not. I would not be.
You needed
You
every
have
one
to
of
have
us.
those experiences
Yeah,
to grow
yeah,
and to be who you currently are.
right. So my view is when you bring back sacred rituals like this into your life, like a vow renewal, like a lokahi ceremony, it's a moment where you and the community can get together and you can give gratitude for the person that you were, right? For all the people, all the personality, all the person that you were before. We give gratitude to that person for getting us to this place where we are now in this space and time, right? We give gratitude to that. And with this vow renewal, with the ceremony, we celebrate who we are now today, right? So we can boldly go, right? We're going to be nervous and scared to move into the next chapter, right? For somebody that just got married, maybe 3 years later, now they have children, and now they're pregnant, right? Let's celebrate that. Look at who you were that got you here, right? Now let's get ready, because you might be scared, but this next chapter is going to be another wild ride. And we are all coming together here as a community to celebrate you so that you could move forward, right? Boldly into the next chapter, right?
I
Because
love that.
your partner is also changing too, right? And
Yes.
when you do the vow renewal, you're making a choice to choose to grow together, right? So not only are you recognizing your growth, you're recognizing your partner's growth, right? And you're going to hold their hand and together step boldly into the future that you both are birthing together with your aloha, with your love. Why not celebrate that? Right? We need these rituals back
So
in
you're
our lives.
saying that it doesn't have to be 5 years, 11 years, or 10 years and 15 years. It could be every year if people were changing every year. It could be every 2 years, every 5, every
Yeah.
3. I agree with that
Let's not
because
wait.
I am completely different from 2020. And I
Mhm.
know a lot of people are,
Yeah.
like there's clients that I've had where some of their marriages got stronger after 2020 and some marriages failed after 2020. So I got you. I see what you're saying there. And it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes.
So it'd be a good idea to renew within the seasons.
Within the season. And, everybody has their own pace and tempo, right? The tempo of life increases sometimes, boom, 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 crazy stuff happening. Sometimes there's sometimes there's a lull, there's a chill. But let's not forget, let's not forget these sacred practices, sacred rituals, right? They're so important for us growing up. We need to keep them going so that we can be refilled, recharged with mana and aloha.
I love that.
Yeah.
Flutters.
So that's vow renewals.
Let's
right?
renew.
Like one of the, one of the principles of marriage, I believe, right, is choosing to grow together. And like I was talking about, the past that every 3 years, how we continue to grow as individuals. That as we're growing as individuals, right? First off is recognizing it in yourself, and then recognizing, like I kind of touched on it earlier, that your partner is also going through that, right? But it's also important to be mindful of that, and to, I guess, in a way, to continue to date your partner, right? Because if they're changing and growing, and you're changing and growing, right? If 3 years later, 4 years later, you have to also relearn who your partner is today, right? Because they might not be that person that was 3-6 years ago.
Well,
Yeah.
you're mentioning growing, right?
Yeah.
Say that I'm growing. I'm doing my thing. I'm grinding at work. I'm growing as a mother. I'm doing all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But my partner isn't.
Mm.
What would you say to a couple that may be not as a therapist, just as a husband?
Yeah.
What would you say to a couple that's going through that? Because a lot of times I've seen that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of couples they're not always growing at the same pace.
Mm-hmm.
Like even with us, I've seen that I skyrocket. Sometimes I get out of control
Yeah.
with how fast I move.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, "Wait, hold on." So what advice would you give to a couple that's not growing consistently with each other?
To me, when I think about that, I'm thinking of, then we would have to define what growth is for you and what growth is for me. Because if you're saying you're growing fast, what are you growing fast in?
Just say my business.
Okay, so what about your spiritual life? What about your self-care? What about your family life? As we focus in on one pillar of being a human, what about the other aspects of it, right? So if we have a front-facing pillar, right, of growth, which is business and advertising and marketing, and it's very public, right? What about all the other pillars, right, that are not very public, right? So we have to define growth there, right? So this is
I'm
that
feeling
other
personally attacked.
I'm not trying to judge. I'm just trying to bring awareness to that there's other aspects of being a whole and complete human being, right? There's family life, there's spiritual growth, right? And if we skyrocket in one, right, and we only focus on one over the long term, let me give you an example. Um, I've worked with many different entrepreneurs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've worked with many people who have sacrificed their lives to build wealth, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they have it, right? They could buy anything they want, right? But their love of their life, their love is gone, right? The person that they love is gone. They they never got to maybe build a family, right? Because they sacrificed for it. And now that they have all this wealth, it's like in some of them I could see like the hunger or the thirst in their heart, and in the other pillars that they might not have been kind of aware of because they're so caught in the chase. And that's what I'm talking about. So I believe that if you're alive as a human being, you're growing at something somewhere, right? And it might not be the fancy stuff, right? But I believe every human being grows. We change. It's impossible to stay the same.
No, most definitely,
Yeah.
and I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, like, from what people can see,
Yeah.
like, and I'm not talking about our relationship at all. I'm
Oh,
I'm
no, of course
mentioning.
not.
I'm just
We have so
mentioning.
many, right? So many relationships out there.
I'm just
People.
talking, like,
Mhm.
somebody's growing, and even with family,
Yeah.
like, someone's taking the kids everywhere and doing everything with the kids and watching things and helping the kids with homework, and the kids are progressing, and then the other partner isn't growing with the other partner with parenting.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
was just asking your
Yeah.
advice on what you think
Well,
and what a couple should maybe
yeah,
do.
what they should do. Well, and another thing that I do believe is that
Some water.
we are not everybody is meant to stay together forever, right? Of course, right? There's that aspect of it too. And each person has to make their discovery and decision on that. But it's like I was saying earlier, in another episode, it was I'm about love and aloha, right? Discovering it and celebrating wherever it can be found, right? So there there are people that are going to come into our life where we find love with and aloha, right? And they will come and walk with us on our journey, on our path. And sometimes they do have to take another path and they go. And then sometimes later on you're not even realizing it, but on the adventure your paths cross again and you guys walk again for a time, So the love that you have for that space and time as you're walking the path with each other is real, no matter what happens, right? And it should be cherished and celebrated, even if that person has to walk another path, has to walk a separate way. And that goes for family, that goes for relationships, right? Right? Family, talking like even brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, husband and wives, and I'm not sure is that
That
answers
it. That answers
because you
it.
do if you don't feel matched, right? And
Well, you
you've
were mentioning
communicated
growing, and that's
Yeah.
why I mentioned that question for people that may be listening or viewing that
Yeah.
may have that question, because not everybody grows at the same pace.
Right.
But I mean, you got it out there. I
Yeah.
understand what
And
you're saying.
like I was saying, there's other things that we may not be aware of, right? But also it's also what you value, right? So if your partner is growing in a different way that you may not value that, I mean, that's your value judgment.
Okay. Well, let's get back to the renewals, not the separation. Because I just wanted to mention that
Yeah.
with growth, and I personally think that it's normal in a marriage to have a season to where you're not growing at the same pace or even in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I'll just say it, there's been times in our marriage where I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
You know, like what, this is just a roommate. You know, it just, if you
Yeah.
get there, but you can come back from
Yeah.
it and come back
Well,
together. It's very
That's part of the choosing to grow together.
right.
Yeah. It's actually in moments like that, it has to be a conscious choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you do have to spend time again. Like I was speaking about this earlier, of self-discovery, right? Of realizing who you were and who you are now, and then doing the same with your partner, right? So it takes intention and carving out that time and that space to do these things that can be difficult to do when we're in the grind of raising children, but it's critical to do that. And one of the things that I like to combo sometimes with the vow renewals are things like a wedding retreat, or like a weekend, or like a marriage retreat or a couples retreat.
So fun. Yeah.
For a weekend, even if it's for just a weekend, even maybe just like a day workshop. But we get so caught up in the grind, right? And kind of how he laid out how we don't even have the time to discover ourselves, and then let alone like who our partner is now today. I call it setting aside a sacred space time. Like that word is being overused now.
It is.
I like to
saturated.
talk about that a lot. But it's creating. It's almost like creating a ritual that snaps you out of your grind, right? On like a retreat, I like to start off with like maybe a sound. It's like a sound bath or sound bowls that the vibration kind of gets you relaxed and knocks you out of your routine, right? So that the whole point is to reset and get you back to that place again of where you were open and playing with your partner, right? Kind of more back to like a more childlike place again, to where you can disconnect just for a moment from the bills and the kids' worries and stuff like that, because you need that. You got to be intentional to create that space so you can rediscover each other again. And I think if couples can get to that place, right? Because you're busy growing here. This other, your other partner is doing their thing, but it's like we gotta hit the pause button, so that. And I think if you can create that space, right? There's a reason why you married that person in the first place, right? And in my ceremonies, one of the things that I like to say, and this is popular from other speakers that have come, like my favorite speakers, which is, if you, at the end of your relationship, it's that saying, at the end of your relationship, if you treat your partner like you did at the beginning of your relationship, there'll be no end to your relationship. So what I get from that is that there's a reason why you got together, right?
Mm-hmm.
But your growth and your chase and all of that has got your mind in this pattern routine grind that you can't break away from. You can hit the pause button and revisit that reason, right? Revisit that reason. I just think a lot of couples have a chance to continue to build again, but we lose ourselves in the grind, right?
So tell me about these retreats. So you're talking about vow renewals, and then the couples retreats and playing with only your couple,
your partner. Yeah, of course. Right. You're right. Married committed couple.
I just want to
Yeah,
make
we have
that
to
clear.
specify
I
in
just
this
want to
town
specify that
here
in
that
this town.
that's going to be another subject for another podcast, right? Like
But
committed monogamous couples retreat, right?
yeah, so is it with the retreats? Are they able to renew the vows at
So,
the retreats,
so
or
yeah.
kind of tell me about how that works?
So I was starting to touch on the process. The whole point is to break your pattern, right? And it's about intimacy with your partner. And the whole thing is to get there is we have, there's different levels of intimacy. There's like emotional intimacy, mental intimacy, physical intimacy. But to even get there, when we're in our daily grind patterns, right? We're in an energetic pattern, a mental pattern, and a physical pattern, and we're locked into this stuff, right? We drink our coffee, we get stimulated, our minds start going. And when we're in that month over month, year over year, right? It just gets rigid and locked in, right? So that's what creates no space for you and your partner. So the whole point of the retreat is to break that. So we start with all three. With the sound bowls, it's energetic, physical. What's energetic and physical, right? And mental, which is you're getting them to disconnect and to interrupt that pattern, right? To do a reset. And then we go through meditate, like couples meditations. We go through different practices to relax and then to reconnect and to pause and to see your partner again with those with new eyes, I guess to say. Since we're breaking that pattern, let's see our partner with new eyes again, and then we get into other practices of what we're trying to get to is to reset so we can get back to that childlike place again where we can play with our partner, right? Which is, I guess, to describe the feel of it, it's like, when you're like a kid and you're playing outside and you run outside the house and you go knock on your friend's door, can Brandy come out and play? Oh, can Cole come out and play, right? It's like, as adults, sometimes we almost need like permission to do that. So part of it is like giving you permission to be silly again, to laugh and joke with your partner, to play. And then when you get to that state, then we do a little bit of digging, a little bit of work of discovery, like who you are today, and you're doing it with your partner, and they're finding out who they are today, And again, it's that same pattern of giving gratitude of all that you were that got you here, and celebrating who you are today. And then we like to close these retreats with a vow renewal.
There we go.
To seal it, right?
Yeah.
So it's that whole practice, right? But most of it is trying to hit the pause button to just break your pattern routine.
And I love it. I have to say, I just have to put my little 2 cents in here. Okay, so we've done a retreat, and like I've been to some of the weddings that you've done, and vow renewals, and I don't know why I cry after every single one. They make me so, and I am not a crier, but they just make me so emotional because you can just feel the love between the couple, and then the chanting and then the words that you use. You can like feel that they're back together and they're back to where they were. So I'm just like, I don't know. I'm so grateful to be able to be there when you do those ceremonies, because it makes me kind of fall in love again. It just feels real
I
good.
love it. Everybody feels all kinds of way at weddings. You know what I mean? That's what everybody's coming there for,
renewals.
right? Everybody starts getting their own vibes in their own way, right?
Yeah.
When it pops off.
I'm really nervous about the one coming up since I'm the camera person.
Yeah.
And I cry.
Yeah, you usually on point every time with everything else at the camera, but at my weddings,
I don't trust myself.
nah, yeah. you'd be swept up in the whole thing. It's like,
The camera
camera
goes
person,
down.
where are you?
You could just see dirt.
Right. But that's why I love doing it. Right. That's
Yeah.
it's aloha. It's a discovery, and the celebration of it is love. Right. It fills everyone up with mana, right? With energy, with spirit, with aloha. Right. It fills everybody up with love, and I really love being a part of that. It feeds and fuels me, and it's definitely a light years difference from the federal contracting world.
Absolutely.
With
And
the
if
cutthroats and stuff.
somebody were interested in renewing their vows, do they have to like have a venue? Do they have to have a space to do it? Can it like do they do their backyard? Like what is it that
I
you
like you can do it anywhere, right? But a lot of times what I find is that it depends on when the person's gotten married, but I mean, a lot of people, if they got married at a younger time, or even if not, a lot of times your first wedding, everybody's got their 2 cents in on it, right? It's your parents, their parents, your family, their family, and it sparks off all these emotional spirals that kind of close in on your day, and it's supposed to be your day, and then everybody makes compromises on their actual wedding day.
we did most definitely did with
Yeah.
ours.
Right? I mean,
I
you
don't even
appreciate it,
remember.
right? All the attention and stuff, but
Yeah.
it brings up so much different things from people on their insides when they're participating. Everybody, grandma, grandpa, everybody, especially you and your partner. And so, what I like about the vow renewals is that you can make it. This can be all you now, right? Because you shared in the first one. Now I could be just by myself on a cliff over the ocean in some, in like Big Sur or something, in some remote place, because that's the dream that I wanted, right? I just wanted to be intimate with me and my woman and the spirit and the universe, and we're just together, right? So, yeah, you could do it. Yeah, you could do it anywhere, but it will be yours, right?
Yeah,
Yours.
I loved all three of well, two. How many have we done?
We had a wedding and 2 renewals.
I had a wedding with two renewals. I mean, I just loved all of them. They were all so different. The first one was on the beach on Kauai with the family, and then this last one for 2021, it was really ours.
Yeah.
I think that one was more ours than any of them.
Yeah.
So
That was the one I really love, the one when we got to go to Hawaii, because that's the one that I imagine. It was on where I'm from in Vainiha, right, where my ancestors were from for generations, right, the Navajo people, the Mu, at the river mouth in Honolulu Bay, and
it was supposed to rain. Remember, it was
supposed to rain, and the sun came out.
It was hot.
Yeah.
Not only was it not raining, we were sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a beautiful one.
Yeah, it's that one. That one actually is what got me. That's the first spark of me and my Kumu Aloha journey. Because that's when I learned the first mele, the first pule from the Kumu that married us that day. He looked like he had hair like my father, right? Big puffy fro.
How yours will probably be.
And I was like, oh man, yeah, it hit. That one hit for me.
And of course, they all did. It was beautiful. But this last one, I planned the whole thing myself. So, a little bit of
That was fair. That was a blast, right? That was Brandy's. It was, each one was celebrating a new chapter of our life.
Absolutely.
A huge, crazy new chapter. Because
Absolutely.
the Hawaiian one was about ohana and reconnecting, and we had our children.
Yeah.
At that time, they were babies, and right, it was the growth of that.
We should do it again. We're going back to Hawaii. Why not? Sure.
What is it? And we did it right after the 2021 new chapter.
New chapter.
And here we are, right? We
Check us
celebrated
out.
it, and we're boldly stepping into yeah, what we got going on. So,
Yeah.
mahalo for talking story with me, Brandy, Mrs. Kikoa.
Oh, you're very
You know,
welcome. Anytime,
and
not a problem.
Mahalo Ohana for joining us for talking story with Yakumu Aloha. And we will. Is there anything else you would like to comment on?
No, I'm good. I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, me too. I'm happy you are here. Okay. Aloha kako, everybody, and mahalo. And we'll talk to you folks next time.